Following the discussion of Stoic philosophy, today we will try to find out and explain what were the important ideas of Seneca and his philosophy. So let's get into the discussion. One of the Stoic philosophers was Lucius Annaeus Seneca. He was originally Spanish, but in the course of time, he finally took his place as one of the courtiers of the Roman Empire in the 1st century AD. He was a follower of self-proclaimed Stoicism. Seneca, however, was not a philosopher in the academic sense, but his philosophy was motivated by how to live life and how to apply his philosophical reflections to real-life situations. We see the philosophical purpose of his even in today's modern age. Seneca has written on many practical issues. Among these are his writings on morality, anger, serenity, happiness, and even rest. Among his writings, the book on the shortness of life has become very popular. There are also various books entitled Of a Happy Life, on anger, moral letters, etc., which can inspire a reader to lead an orderly life in his real life. Writing about Seneca in the 12th century, Peter Abelard said that he was the best moral philosopher. 200 years later, Francesco Petrarch declared him the best teacher. An important aspect of his writing is that it reminds you of the things you need to keep an eye on in real life that we have become entangled in this world and forget about. And you will find in his writings all the deadly insights on how to deal with every challenge in life. So let's listen to Seneca's explanations and analysis of some of his important directions and insights from these essays. There can be nothing more terrible than uncontrolled emotions. This is exactly what Seneca discusses in his essay on anger. He knew very well how terrible anger can be, especially when it subdues another in a way that kills one or threatens one's own life. When anger is suppressed, one loses all reason, and the main teaching of Stoic philosophy is to run by one's own feelings and judgments. So, anger is a force that, once pressed on someone, creates a solid layer on his judgment, from which brain cannot work reasonably and properly. One of the main problems of anger is that whenever we react to an event with anger, it becomes our habit later on. And this habit blinds us. Not only anger, but also violence and fear blind our normal behavior. So how can we get rid of these abnormal behaviors? As a solution to this, Seneca tells us to be tolerant of one another and to understand that none of us in this world is really perfect. We have faults in one way or another, just as others have faults. When we understand this deeply, we can be tolerant of the way others treat us and deal with the situation with justice. And that is what keeps us calm in difficult situations. In one of his most famous essays on the shortness of life, Seneca says that what it means to live one's life to the fullest, to live intensely, is that for most people it happens for a very short time, or in most cases it doesn't. Most people spend the rest of their time with failed events, subjects, things. He further added that if a person is busy with various things at the same time, then nothing will be done well for him. We see a lot of this right now in what we call multitasking. When we want to do more than one thing at a time, the power of our mind cannot be settled in one place. The power of the mind then goes in different directions and becomes weak. As a result, at the end of the day, the indomitable urge to rush through everything and end the trouble together fails, and we can't do anything right. If we want to get rid of this, then we have to move our mind away from all other things and focus only one place. Then the feeling that the love that will arise from that one work will encourage us to finish the next work, and each of our work will be done very nicely and calmly. Seneca reminds us that those who mourn because life is short and cry because they can't do anything are actually wasting most of their lives doing nonsense for which they feel that way. In fact, the one who can use his time properly, although his life is short, it becomes a very big and great life for him. He added that people don't value time as much as they value their wealth. When $2 or $3 is snatched away from our hands, we cry because the money is visible to us, but we don't notice at all that time is passing by in front of our eyes because we don't see time tangibly. So what can we do in this case? All we can do is imagine time as an asset in our own minds. Maybe it will be hard to imagine in the beginning, but once you can build this imagination in your subconscious by trying, then this urge of time will not let you waste time anymore. You can wake up from laziness and start building your own life. A scattered, confused man always runs around like a wanderer in the hope of getting something. He doesn't pay attention to what he has at the moment and doesn't use it. As a result, it is not possible for him to lead a good life. Once such people find what they are looking for, they run after other things and become restless and anxious and cannot find it. They can't sit still for even a moment. As a result, they cannot live a happy life. To get out of this, if we practice sitting still for 5 minutes every day, our restless mind will calm down, focus, and the confusion will gradually decrease. As a result of this practice, we will be able to move forward towards a happier life. People who are always in the middle of instability don't really get a chance to rest. Seneca has written a whole essay based on leisure. What we mean by leisure is not Seneca's leisure at all. For us, leisure means being more busy at the time. Think about it. What do we do when the holidays come? Working all week? Then we get involved in more work instead of resting. And it's not a leisure at all, according to Seneca. For Seneca, leisure is to do nothing at the time, not to be distracted by anything, but to be completely immersed in the present moment. If we play any sport for leisure, going out for a walk, it will not be considered as leisure at all. So, what is this leisure? This leisure is nothing more than spending a few moments with yourself, completely alone. Now the questions maybe arise, is it not a waste of time simply to do nothing? No, my friends, time is not wasted here at all. Rather, if you look at history, you will see that many famous things have been discovered during this solitary moment. Discovering Einstein's theory of relativity, Nikola Tesla's various instrumental inventions were related to this secluded vacation. This moment provides new thinking, vitality, and creativity in your brain so that you can do your work more effectively in real life. So, you need to take some time out for yourself and keep it for leisure. At this time, you can reflect on yourself and various aspects of life. You can think about different things in philosophy or do journaling. You can also write in a note about your entire week's work and what you will do for the next weekend. It would be best if you could meditate at this time. It will help you to stay in the present moment and also monitor the movement of your thoughts. So this leisure is a break between returning to yourself and your busy schedule. And this break gives you the strength to go back to work with new energy. So it is not a waste of time, but it calms your mind and helps you to apply different things in real life. Seneca observed that many people in their constant pursuit of wealth could not even enjoy what they had acquired. After they have achieved so much with so much effort, they are worried that what if it will lost again? In doing so, they are in a state of discomfort and anxiety from the beginning to the end of their lives, and they don't get any opportunity to rest, mentioning by Seneca. At the last moment of their lives, they died of despair and grief. The richer wants to become more rich, and the more he wants to acquire more wealth, which puts him in an uncomfortable competition. And in doing so, they fail to achieve the things that can be helpful for a peaceful life. If we take a closer look at it, we will see that after spending a lifetime in pursuit of money, when many people avoid health issue, it is seen that all that money is spent on healing the broken health in old age. Then what is the benefit of running after money? And we will see such abnormalities in this capitalist system as well. A sick mentality of running after money is driving our society in different directions. Making money is not a problem, but the need for it is as much as it takes petrol for the car. If we want to get rid of this, Seneca's simple solution is: get used to simple life. Achieve as much as you need to move on in life. By doing this, we will be able to save time by running after useless money. And we will be able to use that time to achieve those qualities that money cannot buy. These are honesty, reasoning, knowledge, wisdom, forgiveness, love, etc. Seneca also reminded us that poverty also creates anxiety and is a barrier to living an ideal life. So we have to try to get out of this personally and socially. And poverty doesn't mean that extra money isn't a problem. Both have their own problems. So both of this should be avoided, and Seneca thinks that it should be the vow of human beings to create a peaceful life through judgment and reasoning by focusing on the basics of life through simple living. In his essay on Providence, Seneca sheds light on an age-old problem. The problem is, if this world is driven by some divine order, then why do bad things happen to good people? Since Seneca was a self-proclaimed stoicist and he thought that the universe was chained by an intellectual and divine power that came spontaneously from nature, which he called Zeus. Now the problem that has been raised is that Seneca responds quite nicely. It's not bad at all. It's good if we take a good look at what we always think is bad, he said. The calamity that fall upon our lives made us think at that moment that I had done nothing wrong. So why are these things happening to me? Where is my fault? Many have tried to answer this in many ways, but since we are discussing Seneca, the answer Seneca gives us is that it is not bad to judge all the bad situations that have come down in our lives. When we can overcome that situation and learn from that situation, then we will have no choice but to thank that bad situation. In this case, if we remember the words of Steve Jobs, connecting the dot, then we can understand it clearly. So according to Seneca, when a bad situation arises in front of us, if we can accept the situation without blaming it, if we can overcome it, then it gives us a real solution-oriented view of that situation. Here, if you want, you can blame God, such and such a person, you can feel sorry, but no one will solve your problem. You have to think for yourself. So if we can bravely try to deal with the situation without lamenting it, it gives us a feeling of strength in ourselves, which is much more rewarding, soothing, and empowering. And such an attitude towards life's challenges helps us to build a strong character. So it seems to me that solution to this problem is simply more satisfying and convincing emotionally, practically, and morally, what Seneca simply called for. If we can master it slowly, we may one day be able to acquire these beautiful characteristics. Many of us may have faced the saying that you have to be ambitious in your life or you can't grow up. But Seneca said the opposite. He said that if a person with excessive ambition goes to a high position, he falls to the ground very hard. The instability that overambition creates in a person doesn't allow one to be calm and carefree about one's own life. And instability works in a person even after achieving a lot. Also, when we engage in a task with excessive ambition, it's emotionally traumatic to fail. So here comes the question, is ambition bad? No, it's not bad. It takes ambition to do something big, but everything extra is bad. Seneca told us to look at this matter carefully. We should not compete in the race of material success and think of it all. Seneca tells us that it is not material possessions that gives us a secure life, but it is meaningful leisure that truly frees us. Excessive ambition, on the other hand, keeps us mentally unstable and binds us by wasting time instead of freeing us by all the harmful thoughts. We have come to this life, but what will we do with this life? What is its purpose? These are the things we need to find out. Seneca, however, has put a lot of emphasis on philosophy, which we have already seen in the middle of the discussion. But Seneca did not insist on being the only target, but he said something very important in this regard in his book on the shortness of life. That is, most people don't have a specific goal in life. In doing so, they spend most of their lives wandering around confused. So we need to find something in life that will push us to live a meaningful life. So what is the value of this living if we spend time wandering around and not choosing a specific purpose that makes us thrive and makes a big living? If we had not been born, then it would have been better to live in that emptiness. But when it comes to this life, each of us has some or the other hidden purpose that we have to explore and concentrate on. Otherwise, perfection will not come into our life. Most people spend their lives aimlessly because they are in conflict with this purpose. So, if we can do something to find out from all sorts of things in the field of life, it will seem that my life has been successful and living is really successful. It will give you peace, meaning, and love. That is why Rabindranath, like Seneca, tells us, make an impression when you come to life. It is that purpose that builds us up and helps us to find our own meaning by guiding our lives through the struggle. As I like philosophy, psychology, spirituality, and I am working on this reading and knowing, likewise many people may be interested in various other fields such as dance, song, drawing, programming, or anything else. So if you can find your desired interest, give time and working in it, then you can move forward towards a fulfilling life. In this case, don't imitate of anyone. But if you can work on it passionately, your life will be more fulfilling, more rewarding. So finally, after listening to so many valuable discussions of Seneca, we can say that these directions of life and its challenges are as real as they are meaningful. Where we live in an atmosphere where we want more and more, in that situation we can only hope that by practicing these guidelines we will be able to get rid of them and move on to a more meaningful and peaceful life. So, do you enjoy the video? If you enjoy it, share the video with everyone so that more people can be aware of the important aspects of the Stoic philosophy. And to get more videos like this, please subscribe to this Psyche Talk channel and click on the bell icon to get the next video immediately. Enough for today. Until then, stay well and stay healthy. Thank you so much for supporting the channel.